Just a quick thank you to everyone who's been using my EA creator code. It really means a lot. If you're picking up new Sims 4 packs, just enter Simmary Sims as the promo code at checkout in the EA app or on the Sims website and click apply. It won't give you a discount, but it is a totally free way to support me and my channel. Thank you again and happy simming! Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another speed build. So for today's video, I'm actually building on a lot I've never built on before. This doesn't happen very often because I feel like at this point I have pretty much at least touched all of the lots in the game at some point. I'm sure there's a few like 64 by 64 lots that I've never built on before, but I have never built on this particular one in Brindleton Bay, and it is the Club Calico lot in the world of Brindleton Bay. Like I said, I think by default this is a lounge. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's a lounge. It is supposed to, I think, feel like one of those like country clubs, you know, fancy country clubs where the wealthy people kind of socialize and get together. And that's exactly what I'm building here today as well. And on top of this being a lot that I've never built on before, I've never done a country club type of build either. So for me, this is all new and I was having so much fun with this. I really like how eventually it came together. I will say it was a little bit of an adventure to get to the point where I was excited about the exterior, the shape of it. The floor plan was a battle. I don't think I left the footage for the floor plan in the video. I'm not exactly sure, but that was so messy and like it took me so many tries and it was very difficult to do for me personally. So yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. It was a battle. It was a process, but we trusted the process and then this is what came out of it. And I think it turned out really fun. So this is by no means like the largest lot ever. I think it's a 40 by 30. So the country club itself isn't necessarily like the most grand thing ever, but it's still very big. There is definitely a bunch of activities here. Usually country clubs will also have some sort of like either a golf course or a tennis court or both. That's not necessarily the case for this one because obviously we don't have either tennis or golf in The Sims, and also the lot is only a 40 by 30, so I didn't really have that much space for all those types of things. So yeah, it's like kind of smaller in that sense, but I did put a bunch of activities in. We do have a very large like indoor pool as well, so I thought since I still wanted to facilitate some like sports activities and stuff, we definitely have like a really large indoor pool. We also have a gym upstairs. There is a yoga class kind of room, like a yoga studio kind of thing. There is a sauna as well. So we do have all those like sportsy fitness kinds of activities in here, of course. And then for the rest, we also just have like a general party and food dinner kind of area where we have a stage with a grand piano and a microphone, and then there's also like a bar there, and there's just a bunch of tables and also some buffet tables and whatnot, and a dance floor actually. So I think that for weddings this would also be really fun to use, especially since in the back, that's not attached to this lot, it's basically just out in the world, but on the dock you can kind of see it here in the right hand corner of the lot, like in the back, there's that little dock area, and there's actually a wedding arch there. So it's so pretty, like it's so magical. You can just have your Sims get married there using that little wedding arch, and then you could have the wedding, like the ceremony and stuff in this building, because I feel like that would definitely work. I didn't necessarily set up like dressing rooms and all those kinds of things, but we do have a nice just like general dinner area where you can just deck out like the buffet tables, use those for food. If you wanted to add in some of those like round tables where you can place like the wedding cake and stuff from My First Wedding Stories or My Wedding Stories. I don't know why I always want to call that one My First Wedding. I don't know. It definitely has something to do with the My First Pet stuff, and then the My Wedding Stories, like the My thing. It always gets me. On stream, for some reason, we always have like these silly little names for a lot of packs because I can't remember all of them, and My Wedding Stories actually turned into My First Divorce pack. I don't know why. So yeah, that's why I always use the wrong names for the packs. I just can never think of the actual names anymore. But that is essentially what happens. So yeah, you can use this for a variety of different things. I think that the downstairs, like the indoor pool, just turned out really, really fun. I think that's such a fun addition. I don't really do indoor pools all that often, so it was really fun to just have that included here. And it was nice because it, you know, it's pretty large, so it took up a lot of the floor plan and a lot of the space in this building, which was very useful because, you know, it's pretty big still, and I just was definitely struggling. So I knew from the get-go, like half this build or like half the ground floor is going to be a pool. So we just know that. We just have to figure out the locker rooms and the showers and all those types of things. But yeah, that was really fun to do. But as you can probably tell, I had so much fun with the exterior for this. I was definitely looking at very, you know, New England, fancy, like Hamptons or like Cape Cod, like all those types of buildings. I was looking at a bunch of very luxurious like houses and estates and stuff over on Pinterest to just kind of have an idea of what I wanted this to look like. And I really wanted to go for, as you can probably tell, a very symmetrical shape for this build. And the problem with symmetrical shapes, like I really love how they look, like it's so satisfying to look at, but it makes me struggle more with the floor plan for some reason. I don't know why, but there's something about symmetrical builds that just, it makes me just freeze on floor plans, and I don't really know where to go. But thankfully we figured it out. I was talking about whatever we have going on here activity-wise also. So we have a pool, we have a gym, we have a sauna and fitness. We have a general party, dinner, get-together, bar, lounge kind of space with a stage. Then upstairs we also have some sort of like a mini library or like book club kind of area. I thought that would be really cute for Sims to come together and maybe like have a little book club gathering. If you wanted to, you could put some computers on the table or laptops and have Sims come together to also like write or something. I think that would be really cute. And then we also have two different game rooms. One of them has just like a bunch of those game tables, you know, the ones that where you can just play all kinds of different games. I have that, where you can like play Don't Wake the Llama and all those types of stuff. And then there's also another game room that's essentially the same vibe, but it has the foosball table, it has darts. We have some like globe bars in those rooms and like brown leather couches, you know, like that kind of vibe. So yeah, I thought that was really, really fun, and just a bunch of activities. And then out on the porch in the back, there's some more activities. We have some painting there. So Sims can essentially just come together, maybe do some painting, or if you have like a painting club or something, I think that could be really cute for them to come together and just do some group painting or whatever. If that's even a thing that you can do, I mean, probably, right? When you have just a bunch of Sims like together in a group, I think maybe you can like paint together as a group. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but I think that would be really, really cute too. And of course, there are some chess tables out there, so Sims can just play some chess. There are also some cute little umbrella tables for Sims to just hang out and chat. There's no like coffee bar where you could actually purchase coffee, but upstairs in the book club area, there is a little kitchenette for Sims to use. So there's a kitchenette with a coffee machine there, so maybe Sims could grab some coffee from upstairs and we hang out downstairs outside. I don't know. It's a really fun lot, I feel like, for Sims to come together and just do different types of activities, socialize with each other. And obviously it's supposed to look really fancy because country clubs apparently are just those really fancy kind of like elite kinds of things that you really need to be invited to or like accepted into. And it was fun because we were talking about this, or I was building this over on stream, and it's so interesting because for a lot of us, especially Europeans, the concept of a country club is just very foreign. Like, it doesn't really exist here. I mean, I'm sure it exists places, but I live in the Netherlands and I have never been to a country club. I don't know of any of them existing here or like, you know, in the area or in the country altogether. Like, I've never been to one, and to me it is something from American shows and movies. That's what it is for. I feel like a lot of us Europeans, that's what it is. I immediately, especially since we're building it here in Brindleton Bay, I immediately think of Gilmore Girls. I think of Emily and Richard Gilmore, and I just wanted to, basically those were like the Sims that I was thinking of. Like, I had them in mind when I was building this. I was like, would Emily and Richard Gilmore enjoy coming here that's the general vibe that I wanted for this lot in general. And so yeah, it was really interesting to chat about with people from different countries over on Twitch and chat, and just very fun to hear from people. Yeah, to me it's like, it's a thing, it exists here, it's like a very normal. And then a lot of us Europeans are like, what is that even a real thing, or is that just like a movie kind of thing? And so I did look it up on, like, I asked ChatGPT about the definition of a country club, and essentially ChatGPT, for all of you that are also European and have no idea of the concept of a country club, like what it is, it says a country club is a private membership organization, usually located outside or on the edge of a city, that provides its members with recreational, social, and sometimes dining facilities. So all those things, essentially that's what I put in here. And then it also says that typical features include a golf course, a tennis court. We obviously don't have that, but we do have a swimming pool, gyms, or other sports facilities. So we have some yoga, a clubhouse with restaurants, bars, lounges, event spaces. So yeah, we basically have all that here. And then social events and networking opportunities for members and their families. So yeah, I just feel like there would be, every week there would just be like different events going on here, different like social, like dinners, get-togethers, all those types of things. I think different types of clubs could maybe just come together here and just, you know, socialize together, have a good time, that type of stuff. And obviously it's supposed to be a little fancy. You can also tell from this lot itself, it's only a 40 by 30, but you can really tell by the surrounding area of this lot that it's supposed to just really be very elite, very fancy. It looks like some sort of like gated community type thing, even though it's only one lot, but it looks very gated. There's like a really fancy archway kind of thing, and then you can see that fountain with the flag in front of the lot, like that is not attached to the lot, that's just the world, that's just the environment, that's just how they made it look. And it definitely just looks so upper class and like fancy and fun, and I just had a really good time with this because I don't really usually build these types of builds, so to me it was definitely something a little different, especially since it's on a lot that I've never built on before. And I was actually building this with my upcoming, well, dare I say upcoming, it definitely will be a while before we play that, but I'm planning or putting together slowly but surely a save file for some rotational gameplay in Brindleton Bay, which is something that I really, really want to do at some point in the near future. But currently, of course, I'm still playing my Pancakes Reheated Let's Play, so that's also been really fun. I don't know how long that one's going to go on for. It's supposed to be a mini series, but I can already tell I'm just having a lot of fun with the storytelling there. And just, you know, hanging out with the pancakes, seeing where life takes them. And I thought I had it all figured out in my brain, kind of like where I wanted the storytelling to go. But the game is so chaotic, and like it keeps throwing these things at me that I'm like really reconsidering what I had in mind for them, and maybe I want to do something completely different. I'm not going to share all my thoughts because spoilers. But yeah, it's just so much fun, and it definitely just makes me want to keep going. So I'm definitely not done with the Pancakes Let's Play yet. I only have 2 episodes up, and the third one's gonna come out next week, like soon also. So yeah, that's been really fun, but when that one's over, I definitely, or when I end up having more time to maybe do 2 Let's Plays a week, and then also speed builds, I don't know, we'll have to see, but if I end up having time for that, I'll maybe start this one a little sooner. But I'm just really excited. It's like half the fun for me is setting up the world and like setting up lots and families and townies that I won't necessarily play with, but that I want to have in the world, you know, like people that I want them to be able to visit, little small businesses, all those types of things. It is so fun to kind of set up my own little Stars Hollow in a way. You know, if you're familiar with Gilmore Girls, then you'll exactly know what I'm talking about. Just setting up my own little Stars Hollow-esque type thing and like little families to play with. It's just so much fun, and that's what this is definitely for as well. Because if you may remember, a couple of weeks ago, I actually uploaded a brand new house for the Heckings. Brent and Brand Hecking, they are a townie family that come with this pack, with the Cats and Dogs pack, and they live in Brindleton Bay. It's a couple and they have a little dog. It's a young adult couple and they're just recently married and they have a dog. So I did build them a brand new house because I want them to be part of the rotational gameplay as well. And one of them, either Brent or Brant, you'll have to forgive me, like those, they have essentially the same names and it's very problematic and I can't remember who's who, so I don't know. But one of them, either Brant or Brent, is very much into health and fitness, and I think they have the bodybuilder aspiration as well. I have to still give them a makeover too, by the way, which is something I have to do, so I'm not really sure of their exact like traits and aspirations and all that. But yeah, one of them is definitely very much into health and fitness, and in my mind, they are at least part-time a personal trainer, or like personal trainer, not necessarily, but a trainer. They work at the gym, help people out, train people, essentially, you know. And one of my friends that has been following that series, like me setting up the rotational gameplay and also hanging out on Twitch, she was like, how about you build a country club, since that is something that just needs to be in Brindleton Bay somewhere and we have the perfect lot for it, and it would be really fancy, and then Brant or Brent can actually be a trainer at the country club, and he can like train the rich, wealthy people that come here to work out in the gym. Or maybe he'll give like yoga classes as well. Maybe he'll do both. Maybe he'll sometimes also be a lifeguard in the pool. This is not necessarily a place for children to hang out. I don't really have anything for kids here. But you know, maybe he'll still like lifeguard, like keep an eye on the pool when there's people swimming. Maybe he'll do like those like water, like fitness, like aerobics type classes. I'm not exactly sure what the right term for that is. I know that doesn't exist necessarily in The Sims, but I feel like that would just be really, really fun. So I could totally see that for him. So maybe he like works at the country club at least part-time and trains people. I think that would be so much fun, and I could totally see that vision. So I obviously took that suggestion and ran with it, and I took that opportunity to also build my very first country club. It was a great excuse to build here on this lot. That's so, for some reason, intimidating to me, even though it's not even that big, but it's just like the surroundings and like it's so fancy, and it's for that reason just, I guess, a little bit intimidating to me. So yeah, it was a really fun idea and just a fun excuse for me to finally build something here. So that's essentially what this is for. So yes, this definitely will be featured in my upcoming Brindleton Bay rotational series whenever that one's actually happening, but it is happening, hopefully sooner rather than later. I would absolutely love to start it somewhere in the fall, so maybe like come November or whatever. We'll have to see how we go. I just think that that would be so much fun. So yeah, that's essentially what this is for, and you can tell that we have started on the interior. It definitely took me a minute to figure out the exterior and be done with all the details and like the roofing and, you know, all the details on the exterior, the beams, the friezes. It was a lot, but I'm really happy with how it came together. And then, of course, here, yeah, I started off with the entryway. So we have a really fancy kind of entry with a double staircase, and that like miniature type thing of Brindleton Bay. I don't know what the word for that is. I can barely think of any words right now, by the way, like if you haven't noticed. I'm kind of low energy because I'm really tired. I barely had any sleep last night. It was just one of those nights where I just barely got any sleep, but I'm still so excited. I like really wanted to share this build with you all, and I was kind of debating like, should I just do a voiceover but like without face cam to make it seem a little bit less overwhelming because I'm so like tired, and then I was like, no, I just kind of want to do my voiceover like I always do them because I just think it's so much fun to hang out with you kind of in a way, I guess, and like do a voiceover and talk about the build and talk about my ideas for the game and like upcoming videos and whatnot. So that's what we're doing. But yeah, that's also why I can barely form any sentences right now, but it happens. It happens sometimes, and you're just gonna have to bear with me. But yeah, of course. Now I forgot my train of thought. I don't know where we were. I simply do not know. But yeah, this is the lounge slash bar slash you know, wedding kind of reception area, or whatever kind of reception, I guess. We have some really fancy tables set up. I'm really enjoying this color scheme, by the way. The new kit, the Grunge Mudroom kit, had just come out like a day before I think I started decorating this. So I was super excited to see the new wallpaper wallpaper and floor that come with that kit, because I think that kit is just wonderful. And I'm using the tiles here in a dark blue, like on the floor. I'm using the tiles in a brown color, I think, for basically the rest of this build, with the exception of a few rooms like the gym and stuff. But I'm using that tile floor in a lot of areas for this, and also the wallpaper that came with it, because it's just so like nice and fancy, and the pattern is so fun and intricate, and it just really fit the fancy vibes of this build, because it's also like, it's fancy but it's coastal at the same time. So I don't know, the stuff from the Grange Mudroom kit just really worked out for this one. I actually also placed a couple of those storage units here in the little hallway, but I did like kind of change the layout for this, because I just really wasn't happy with it, and I forgot to place showers. So then I went ahead and placed showers, but then that also was the door into the pool. So then you would have to kind of, you'd walk by the showers, but then the locker rooms wouldn't be there yet. So you would have to walk through the showers to the locker room, change, walk back to the showers. Like, it doesn't really matter that much in The Sims, obviously, but it was definitely bugging me a little bit. So I was changing up the floor plan here a little bit to where you kind of entered the gym or the pool through that little hallway in the back. It'll all make sense when I give you a tour of this place. Obviously, we will go over the floor plan. It's really not that, you know, intricate or difficult, but it is just a lot because I was just messing with it so much. But yeah, here off of the pool, we do have, obviously, now that I changed it a little bit, I made it so that you walk into the pool and you'll first like walk through the locker rooms. So you just have, you know, an option to change, and then you can walk to the showers if your Sims so desire, and then they can hop in the pool. And then there's a couple of bathrooms off of the pool as well. I really wanted to make sure to have enough bathrooms because the lot is so spacious that routing wise, I just really wanted to keep that in mind. Like gameplay wise, it would just be nice to have some bathrooms everywhere, like really close to wherever you are basically, or like whatever you're doing in this lot. So that's definitely something I tried to keep in mind. And then here in the pool, I was kind of struggling, like what else do you put in a pool when it's not necessarily supposed to be for kids? So no like toys or kiddie pools or whatever kinds of things. Like I didn't want it to look very playful. I wanted it to look very serene, very calm, very minimalist, like calming in a way. I can totally imagine them playing some like really like chill music, some very relaxing music in the pool as well, and people can just swim laps there if they wanted to, and it's not necessarily for kids. I did place a floaty because, you know, we just had to have a floaty in the pool, otherwise it just looked so empty. So we do have that there, but then for the rest, I was definitely struggling, like what else do you put? So I just placed some tables and benches so you can just sit and, you know, put your towel somewhere. And I put like a life, not a life vest, but like one of those like round life saver things. I don't know what the word is, you know, the ones. I put that on the wall as well and called it a day. So it's very, very simple. But I really like how it came together. And then after that, after I was all done with the ground floor, we are moving up to the second floor. I really wanted to make a very fancy open staircase landing kind of thing that's like open to the hallway downstairs, but I just couldn't make it happen because of the roofing that I did. And we just had, if you are a builder in The Sims and if you have done like open staircases before, you'll know that when you create open staircases, all of a sudden, all of your roofs start to kind of glitch. Well, not necessarily glitch, but they just kind of merge and clip with the walls, and you can kind of see your roofs show up on the inside where you don't want them to show up, you know. So that's definitely something that happens when you play around with open staircases. And usually for most of my builds, there will be a way around that for me to fix the roofs to where they don't clip. But for this build, it was definitely not possible. It was just simply not going to happen. So I just went for two staircases kind of next to each other, and they're two wide staircases, so it still kind of feels very open in that sense. So that's kind of what I tried to mimic there. I think it turned out really fun. And then here we have that landing. The second floor floor plan was definitely giving me more issues than the ground floor, because also I was kind of struggling with the activities that I wanted to put in here. I just wasn't sure, and I felt like this layout was a little strange. But now that I'm looking at it again, I kind of like it. So essentially we have that landing there where I just placed a couple of love seats and some tables Also a desk with a computer, so like a little library type thing here. And then when you go through this archway here, I placed a few extra bookcases and then a 6-seater table, which I thought could be cute for a book club essentially to come together. Or maybe if your Sims just want to come over here and read in silence, in solitude, you know, they can do that here as well. Or if they want to just sit here and write, like bring their laptop, do some writing, whatever it is, I feel like this is the space for it. I feel like this would also be like a quiet space where you're not necessarily supposed to be talking or at least speaking loudly, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely one of those like more quiet areas where you can just do some reading, writing, maybe even studying, if that's what your Sim is doing. And then I decided to go for a kitchenette up here. I thought I had this really small room that I was kind of like not sure what to do with, and I had settled, I think, on like a storage closet or whatever to just store some things and make it look a little realistic in that sense. But then I figured it would be perfect for a small kitchenette for Sims to just, especially when you're doing like a book club gathering or something, I think it'd just be really cute to have a space for your Sims to grab some coffee and a snack. So we just have a kitchenette here. It's almost a full kitchen, but we just don't have a stove here, but we do have like a sink, a coffee maker, a full fridge. There's a microwave, there is a tea brewer as well, there is a dishwasher, and just, you know, just a kitchenette for people to grab some snacks and like a cup of coffee. And I essentially just wanted it to look like a little self-service cafe, if you will. So we have some really nice freshly baked goods, some fresh treats. I could totally see people just putting fresh ones there every day. They would go to the bakery in the morning and then get some fresh ones to put there. Something like that. I mean, it is a fancy club and people probably pay a lot of money to be part of this, you know, elite club and like use the facilities. So yeah, I feel like they would definitely put some effort into that. And there's also a small table in here, just like a little 3-seater table. I thought that would be really cute for Sims to just sit down and have some coffee. And then on either side, essentially, of that book club slash library space, I just have some game rooms. And I really wanted this to feel very brown leather, glow bar, you know, poker game kind of room, if you will. That's kind of what I was going for here. The room was a little small, so I didn't really have that much space to work with, but I still think we got the point across pretty nicely. This brown leather couch from the chicken pack, what's it called? Cottage Living, was actually perfect for this. And then those really fancy curtains that I used a bunch throughout this entire build, actually. Those curtains are from the Businesses and Hobbies pack, and the white ones were just perfect because it brightens up the space a little bit. I'm using a lot of darker colors for these rooms anyway. For the rest of this build, I'm using a lot of white, blue, and brown, a very coastal kind of color scheme, if you will. But then for this one, since the tables are green, I decided to just kind of embrace that and go for green game tables and like a green wallpaper and then a lot of dark brown, essentially. So that's what we ended up doing here. I think it turned out really fun. I didn't place too many items in these rooms because I obviously wanted there to be enough room for like gameplay and routing and all that, because, you know, it is pretty cramped and you do want to be able to get to those game tables and actually use them as well. So yeah, and then I just also placed some really fun decorations in the window. I thought that would be cute. We have the duck and like the chickens, and it just really worked out vibe-wise, I guess, for this build. Also, I actually built this, I think, as a rec center. So it is definitely functional as a rec center, but you could use it for a lot of different things, actually. It's also functional as a gym. It's functional as a lounge. I think it's also functional as a bar, but I'm not sure if I placed a TV. So if I didn't do that, then it's not functional as a bar, but it's functional as a rec center, a lounge. You could use it as a wedding venue. You could use it as a generic space, obviously. So yeah, you could use it as a few different things and just kind of see what works best for whatever you want. I could totally see this like for my own gameplay. Maybe some days if I am playing with the Heckings and I kind of want to use it as a gym, then maybe I would set it as a gym or like a rec center, because I think fitness equipment is acquired for rec centers. So I do think that Sims will also autonomously then use the fitness equipment. You could also use this as, I think, as a pool. I don't know if that's an outdoor pool or like a regular pool. I'm not sure which one is actually a lot type in The Sims, but you know, there's definitely different types of lot types that you can use, and then it will function. I think a rec center would be the best though, because then Sims would actually use the gym equipment, they would use the game tables, they would just kind of scatter around and use the different types of activities that I put in. So I think that that would be the best one to do. However, when you put it as a rec center, children obviously will also show up, because rec centers are partially also, you know, for children, and they do actually require a piece of playground equipment, which was not something I wanted for this build. So I was a little cheeky with that one, and I sized it down and I hid it in the plants. So it's really cheeky. Kids can't, they'll come here and they'll be like, excuse me, where's my playground equipment? It's actually hidden, sized down and hidden in a bush, for them to never find it or use it. So, you know, that is what I did. But sometimes you just have to do what you have to do in order to make things work the way you want them to in The Sims. So yeah, I think a rec center, even though children will show up, I think a rec center would work best. I did actually place a TV here. So it's, even though it's in the gym, it would totally be functional as a bar because of that as well. So it's really whatever you want to use it for. You can change it up throughout gameplay. Depends when and what purpose you want to use it for, I guess. So that makes it pretty multifunctional, I think, in a way. And I think that's really fun. But yeah, as you may have noticed, we have started here on the final portion of this build, and that is the gym. So we essentially have a pretty giant locker room with a couple of bathrooms off of it, like a couple of showers. Then there is a sauna in the middle, nestled in between the gym area that's kind of small, and then the yoga studio that's also kind of small, which I feel like is fitting for like a country club. You wouldn't necessarily have a huge gym here, probably. Maybe you would, it obviously depends on the size of the country club, but for this one, I feel like this makes sense. So we have a gym area with a couple of treadmills, weightlifting machines, there is a punching bag, and then on the other side, we just have a yoga studio with 4 yoga mats and then 1 instructor's yoga mat. So we can have some yoga classes with 1 instructor and 4 people following the class, essentially, which I think is really fun. It feels a little bit more exclusive that way. So that's what I ended up doing. And then here we have the back porch, and I just wanted here to be some more, just some extra activities. And I felt like chess tables obviously were a must to have here. It's such a good activity to have, and just so useful also for your Sims like logic skill and all that. So I placed a couple of those, and I was missing a little bit of greenery here, so I just placed a few plants. I did want it to look very manicured and like not overgrown in any sense, like just very manicured. So the landscaping for this one is very minimal, but I do think it just makes a lot of sense, and this way it blends in with the surrounding area a little bit more. So yeah, I did place some like hedges and trees and a few bushes here and there, but it is all very intentional and like very manicured in that sense, which, like I said, I feel like just makes the most sense for this build in particular. Yeah, here on the other side, I just have a little painting studio. It's actually a door off of the pool, which I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but it looked good, so I decided to just roll with it. So yeah, we have a door off of the pool, and then there is a little painting area there with, I think, 3 easels in total, and then I just placed a few umbrella tables, and then the final few decorations by the front door, because that was looking a little bit bare, but then that was it. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you the build in real time. So here we have the lot in the game. I set it to a rec center and am just visiting it with this random sim right here. He is from the fairy pack, I think, but just to kind of see how everything runs. He'll show up, all those kinds of things. He'll be here. I also play tested this, so as you can see, I just have a bunch of food out here, so you know, free food comes with this build. But yeah, here you can see the exterior of it. I love that a bunch of people are showing up. That's so much fun. I think this is the mayor of Chicken Town, Henford-on-Bagley, so that's fun. But yeah, this is the exterior. It looks very, very fancy, very New England, Cape Cod-ish, I guess. I mean, I guess that's what I was going for, so I think I did a good job when it comes to that. And then in the back, we have some tables. You can just enjoy the view over the water. There are some chess tables, some painting. Oh, we have some kids showing up as well. I knew that would happen, but I think that's okay. For gameplay, it's not that much of a problem. Maybe the fancy people's children are also allowed to, you know, visit the club with their parents or something. Anyway, when we go inside, this is where we have like the entrance, the hallway, I was imagining this to be a sign where, it's a wedding sign obviously, but I was imagining for it to be a sign where you could kind of see the like weekly activities or whatever is going on. Oh my goodness. Loud. So yeah, we have a entryway space here with this miniature kind of thing of the island of Brindleton Bay, and off to the left is where we have, I guess, the main area of the country club, where we have the dinners, the wedding receptions. There is a bar here. You can just sit here. Maybe you can actually just like grab some food or whatever. So yeah, there are some tables here. I feel like this looks really fancy with all the curtains and all that. And then there's a stage, of course, with a piano, some music, a microphone. So that is all very functional. Then we have another door over here in between the staircases, and this essentially leads you to another small hallway where on the side here we just have a couple of bathrooms. So that's very self-explanatory. And then on the other side is where you'll enter the locker room for the pool. So we have some lockers. And then there's a door into the pool where you can see this guy. This guy, Christopher Gilbert, is just hanging out. Maybe you can actually do some swimming as well. So yeah, there is a pool here that's honestly just very simple. It's very serene, very simple. We do have a diving board. So yeah, there's that. There are some bathrooms here and then a couple of showers here as well. And then when we go upstairs, I really like this as a rec center, by the way. Like, it's really crowded. There's a bunch of people showing up. Going upstairs, we have that landing where you can just hang out, maybe do some reading. There is a computer here. This kid is like, you hid my playground equipment. I will just play some games instead. And I respect it. But yeah, we have a bunch of bookcases here. Through this archway here is the book club area where there's some more books, obviously, and then just a 6-seater table. There are a few bathrooms off of this area as well. And in the back there is a small kitchenette, which again is just very self-explanatory. And then on either end here is where we have some game rooms. So you can just play some Don't Wake the Llama here, or literally any other game. I think anyway, you can change the game, symbols, puzzles, sabacc, Don't Wake the Llama, or cards. So that's also a thing you can do. And then on the other side here is where we just have a similar room, but this one has the foosball table and some darts for your sim to play as well. Then here on the other side, we have the gym area essentially. So there is a very spacious locker room over here with a bunch of mirrors. We have some sinks and a couple of bathrooms with showers, of course. There's a sauna here in the middle for Sims to use, and then a small gym over here with a few treadmills, a punching bag, some weightlifting machines, or if you want to follow along with a yoga class, then you can do that in here. So that is basically it for this build. So the Club Calico Country Club is up on the gallery. You gotta love this thumbnail screenshot with this, whatever it is, literally like right in your face, but you know, that's just how it is on the gallery sometimes. You can get a pretty good look of what it looks like, I think, and of the floor plan as well. It's built on a 40 by 30 on the Club Calico lot in Brindleton Bay, so if you want to place it in your game, then that's where it goes. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You can grab this build off the gallery. My username on there is Simmary Sims, and you can follow me on Twitch and Instagram with the same username as well. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button, and click that bell if you want to see more. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!